And Georgia Tech's coming in with a lot of guys being sick, guys being hurt, and, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen.
No Lance Terry tonight for the Jackets. He's their leading scorer at almost 16 a game. He's down with the flu, but the sophomore Nate George gets the Jackets started in their half-court offense. By Ndongo, of course, on that lineup. Duncan Powell as well. And here's a quick look inside. Ibrahim Soiree and McCollum a three to open the scoring.
And he's really been different since he's gotten the starting lineup. And so many guys out sometimes helps a guy like that. He knows he's going to be in the game, and his confidence level is way, way up.
Jaden Shoot back on the floor for Virginia Tech to start the game tonight, too.
Coach, I know for me it was much different as a starter than it was coming off the bench. As a coach, did you oftentimes recognize that with guys that if they got going as a starter, you keep them in the lineup?
Yeah, absolutely. I think guys, especially shooters, need to be out there.
The Jackets, who only average about 7.5 threes a game, and 34% from the behind the line, a little less than that in conference play, have hit their first 2 threes.
But they're glad to be back home after 3 out on the road, an opportunity to play back in front of their home fans, some comfort level, and they've shown it here. Damon Stoudemire happy about the start that he's had here with his team. Back-to-back threes on their first 2 offensive possessions.
And you didn't see that in the shoot-around this morning. They were clanging a lot of them up there, and you're thinking, they're not going to make many, and then here it is, the game time comes, and bang, the first 2 threes go down. It just changes your whole outlook on life, really, when you make a couple of those threes.
WD, we got a guy that didn't do shoot-arounds for 47 years, and now all of a sudden he's going to make that have input into a game.
Exactly.
I really should be getting extra pay for coming to these shoot-arounds. I never did that.
That'll be up to you and the administration.
Well, that won't go well.
Second from Elijah Poteet is good. Foul was on Ndongo, though. And we got to keep an eye on foul trouble as it relates to Georgia Tech's bigs tonight. Ibrahim Soiree and Baye Ndongo start tonight. We will not see Luke O'Brien. He's still on the shelf with an injury. Here's Powell going to fire another one and hit. So Duncan Powell out of Dallas, the transfer from Sacramento State, has got 3-point goals, 17 and 18 to start for the Jackets.
And I watched Duncan Powell in high school. He could not do that back then, so major props to him putting in the work, developing that 3-point shot.
And Poteet on a nice catch of the shoot delivery. And Elijah Poteet's got all 4 Hokie points here in the first nearly 2 minutes.
And the coach that did the scouting report and said this isn't a good shooting team is hiding on the bench someplace.
Baseline, Soiree! Goodness!
But Noyes is down.
Ibrahim went down after the dunk.
Yeah, looks as though he may have tried to brace himself after the dunk. Didn't hold on to the rim, holding that left wrist. You hate to see that, especially for a team that's already dealing with so many injuries.
Yep.
As Damon Stoudemire comes out to check on Soiree.
And this is, they either have a guy sick or a guy hurt almost every game.
Yeah.
It's hard to develop continuity with your team.
The longtime Georgia Tech basketball trainer is Richard Stewart, out to check on Ibrahim Soiree.
Well, as the only person here that may have any experience with this, dunking when you jump off of 1 foot, you've got to find a way to hang on the rim. Soiree unable to hang on the rim, of course, unable to get his balance.
Corey, I
was a shooter, WD, but he was never above the rim. That was his partner, Dave Bing.
I'm going to need to get some footage of you dunking. I just find it hard to believe.
Here's the thing, Coach. I got the whole video display in my phone. I can show it to you whenever you need.
I'm sure you do.
You see the details of Georgia Tech's injury line. Almost 50 games missed combined with injury.
And we're just
among guys in the rotation.
Yeah, we're just getting halfway through the season.
Yeah.
We're not even in the latter third.
Lawal misses the short jump hook. Early 7-point lead for Georgia Tech, who's lost 4 straight, 5 of their last 8. And McCollum lost it on the dribble against Jaden Shoot, and a turnover for the Jackets. And Mike Young is sitting on 399, a chance at 400 tonight. And Jim, you said this in our preview. This is one of college basketball's best coaches.
He's an unbelievable coach. There are not many coaches better than Mike Young. He knows what he's doing. He's won at all levels, and they just play hard and they do the right things. They get good movement. All the things you need to do to be a good basketball team.
Hammond working against McCollum. Now Poteet. Ryan Mutombo, the son of the late great Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo, has come on the floor defensively for Georgia Tech. And a couple of misses by Poteet.
But you see the importance of getting the basketball inside for Virginia Tech. They're the only team in the ACC where their top 2 scorers are in the front court. Normally it's the guards putting on the show as Duncan Powell continues to stay hot here from the start.
And here's a guy that wasn't starting, wasn't doing much, and now all of a sudden here he's got 8 right off the bat.
And 20 on Saturday in the loss at Florida State. 4 double-figure games in the last 6 for Powell. There's a 3 by Lawal.
And that's the play they talked about today. They run that play, and that guy is always open because he's screening and then he's stepping out.
Coach, that's one of the old school rules,
Yeah.
right? The guy that's always going to be open is the screener.
100%.
15th 3 of the year for Tobi Lawal. And at the other end of the floor, Hammond the foul.
But you see Tobi Lawal setting the screen and then immediately popping back. Mike Young talked to his team about that, knowing that Tobi Lawal would be open, and he's continued to improve on his perimeter shot. This guy came into VCU with an unbelievable athlete.
Right.
48-inch vertical leap, one of the highest jumpers ever recorded in the game, especially for a guy that's 6'9".
Yeah. Here's the other thing. He also came into VCU having only played 2 years of organized basketball. Out of the corner, that's Johnson. Tyler Johnson, who had 9 against Wake Forest, had 11 and 12 rebounds at Cal, knocks down the 3.
And Tyler Johnson normally gets the majority of his work done on the defensive end.
Yeah.
Trying to defend Duncan Powell, who's gotten off to a great start, but he normally gets the most difficult assignment.
12 to shoot and a lot of movement off the ball as McCollum stands and holds it at the left. Fires a bounce pass at Mutombo. Ryan working for position inside. Here's George, 2 to shoot. McCollum from the Georgia Tech logo. Back rim, Powell rebounds in the second chance. Here's Ndongo. Hits Mutombo with the pass. Ryan Mutombo, his first points of the game.
Nice high-low right there by Ndongo. Recognizing it. He had a look but didn't take it. Got a great shot instead of a good shot.
Inside Lawal against Ndongo. Rebound by Johnson in the stick back. Boy, good tough basketball from Tyler Johnson.
And that is a strength of this Virginia Tech team. The offensive rebounding, they're one of the best in the ACC of getting second chance opportunities.
Georgia Tech in an early lead, trimmed down to 3. Jackets have assisted on all 6 of their field goals so far. 5 minutes gone. Here's Ndongo, the catch inside between Poteet and shoot, and Baye Ndongo gets his first basket.
He's
kind of struggled a little bit, Coach.
Well, he's a guy that needs to struggle, needs to step it up. He had a great freshman year. He's been up and down this year, and he's capable, I think, of much more.
Lead back to 5 for Georgia Tech. Rechsteiner playing near his hometown of Ackworth, Georgia. He'll launch for 3 and hit.
He's feeling comfortable right now, WD.
Yep.
He's home.
He's got about 70 family and friends here tonight.
Yeah, when you take that off the dribble 3 ball from that far away and still with a lot of time on the shot clock, you're feeling good about things.
Yep.
70 family and friends is about half the crowd here. As it snowed here yesterday, and they don't know what to do down here.
Nate George dumps in a 3. And all of a sudden, neither team can miss from behind the line.
And I wasn't sure coming in we were going to see this type of offensive explosion from these two teams. They're not regarded as the better offensive teams in the ACC right now, but they absolutely have been in the first 6 minutes.
Rechsteiner front rim miss. We haven't had a break yet outside of the fall by Soiree. Here's Powell, who started off hot. Backing down Johnson. Fall away by Duncan Powell off the back rim. And shoot, saves it for Brandon Rechsteiner. Somebody needs to move it down the gearbox a little bit, not up in the gearbox. Way too fast, maybe for both. Well, wow, another 3. Got slapped out, and the Hokies the second shot. Poteet around Mutombo. Out front, another Rechsteiner 3. And that will finally be claimed by Georgia Tech.
But you can see the emphasis by the Hokies to attack the offensive glass.
What a pass, McCollum to Ndongo.
Both these teams are playing pretty good offense for teams that have struggled offensively.
7-point lead. 7 minutes gone in the first frame. The two teams are 7 of 13 from 3, Corey. Johnson wants to add to it, cannot. recovered George. Nate George, a standing three, air ball. Might have grazed the rim, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, give Nate a little bit of credit.
Okay, hit the rim.
Grazed the front of the rim.
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Here's Recksteiner. And now Poteet will hand for Johnson. Lawal, another one. Back rim miss. And Recksteiner scoops up. Second chance, 8 minutes gone for Virginia Tech here.
Virginia Tech continues to pound the offensive glass, getting multiple opportunities. Again, an offensive rebound for Lawal, unable to get it to go. 3 opportunities alone on that possession for the Hokies, still coming away scoreless.
McCollum walks it into the midcourt area here. These guys have expended a lot of energy, haven't they? Now George, 10 to shoot. Back for Powell, cutting into traffic with the right hand. He'll draw the Recksteiner foul. And that will get us to the break. We'll get a look at the Jackets in transition here, Corey. McCollum delivers to Ndongo. Georgia Tech by 7 when we come back to Atlanta.
When you're just going off the bench, you got to miss a couple shots, all of a sudden you're back out. So I think it's just easier for these guys, and he's very comfortable tonight, and nothing but net.
Yeah, Powell going to go to the line here for a couple of free throws. The game started off so fast, maybe even too fast, Jim.
No, I mean, when you're coming home and you haven't played well, you want to get off to a good start. You don't want to struggle early. And if they hadn't been ready, I think Virginia Tech would have jumped out on them.
Yeah.
Duncan Powell already passed his season average.
Oh, yeah.
In the first 8+ minutes of this game, and now an opportunity to be able to have a big one here. You mentioned 20 last time out in his first start of the season. Now in his second start, off to an even better one.
Rodney Brown's checked in for the Hokies. That's him in the corner. Transfer from Cal. Here's Jaden Young, who was starting the last couple of ball games out front. He'll fire away and hit. Jaden Young's 22nd three of the year. He was 1 of 4 from the floor in Saturday's loss to Wake Forest, but knocks down a triple to keep the Hokies within reach.
Coach, for both these teams, when your team start out shooting the 3 so well, do you concern yourself with them falling in love with it a little bit?
Yeah, you can, but you got to go with what you're doing well, and that's what they're doing well. That time, Virginia Tech got great movement down there, and they got a great shot, and that's what they need to do.
Brown leaves it for Recksteiner. Here is Ben Burnham. He was driving inside. Wessler collects. The big fellow working against Mutombo. And Soiree finally kicked out in the third crack here for the Hokies.
Offensive rebounding has been a plus for the Hokies throughout this game. But multiple times they've gotten a second chance opportunity, just unable to take advantage of them.
Got to make layups. They just missed 2 easy ones.
How about a look away there? Mutombo lost it on the way up.
0 for 3 in layups the last 3 shots.
Under 10 to go in the first half. Here's Rodney Brown Jr. all the way to the basket. He'll draw the foul on Georgia Tech. And foul.
They're only up 6, and they made a lot of shots, and they had great movement. And Virginia Tech is not shot as well as they're capable. So
that is Darion Sutton, by the way, coming into the ball game. He's not played since late December against Alabama A&M. So the last 6 games, Corey, this is a guy that was part of overtime elite. There was some expectation about what he might be as a rookie. Just playing for the 6th time here tonight in his first half.
But we've also talked about the fact that there's so many different guys already injured and out of the rotation for Damon Stoudemire, unavailable to play. So he's got to find healthy bodies that can come in and give him energy. Sutton hopefully can do that.
Yep. That Overtime Elite program is based here in Midtown Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlantic Station, right about 5 minutes from us.
If you're lucky, yeah. Well, traffic, depending on how Bayheim wants to talk about the traffic.
Go the back way here. You don't have to worry
I know
about
the back way. I can get you over there. Jaden Mustaf, who we won't see tonight, he's missing a 2nd straight game with injury. Jack is trying to find some position here, and Ndongo fired a ball in between Mustaf and Sutton. or in between. Oh, and there's the boot club. This is not what you want at any time and point in a season, is it?
Been there, done that, and I can tell you right now, nothing worse than sitting and having to watch your team and nothing you can do to help them.
Yeah, that's Mustaf, Luke O'Brien, and Kwesi Reeves, who's been out since early in the season.
And then you've got to, of course, consider the leading scorer, Lance Terry, out tonight.
Yeah, Terry under the weather after having a big ball game the other day at 23 at Florida State. 2 to shoot, and Rodney Brown launches and hits. 11th three of the year for Brown. He's got 5 off Mike Young's bench, and the Hokies to within 1.
If you're Mike Young, you've got to really be happy where you guys are right now, especially when you're considering the way Georgia Tech has shot the basketball.
Sutton at 17 feet. And here the other way goes the rookie Hammond. Burnham and Brown. Boy, quick move to Young. Tried to get it to Wessler, turned it over, and here's Sutton. Darion Sutton trying to make a transition chance. Sutton feeds. He got it to Powell, who then feeds Ndongo.
Good play. I needed it.
Nice ball movement on the fast break. Sutton giving it up early enough to allow Powell to make a play as Ndongo's able to get the layup. And I'm with Coach. I was expecting a much bigger jump from Ndongo this year, especially after such a strong freshman campaign a year ago.
He was really, really good.
Brown another 3. Rodney Brown's got 8, which is his season high in terms of the ACC, had 8 against Duke on New Year's Eve.
But he watched guys knocking down threes while he was waiting to check into the game, so therefore he knew once he got in it was going to be his turn to let it fly.
Nate George a 3. By Ndongo gives Georgia Tech another chance.
Almost not.
Out of the corner, Sutton clutches. Spinning move on Burnham, puts up the jumper.
WD, I tell you what, Sutton hadn't played in a while, but he's been aggressive once he's gotten on the court.
Yep.
I'm not sure that Coach Stoudemire liked that, but I can tell you what he did like. He liked when they got out in transition, sharing the basketball. Sutton finds Duncan Powell, who finds Ndongo for the beautiful 3-on-1 opportunity. And on the other end of the floor, Rodney Brown getting his time and making the best of it here. 2 threes for him early. Added the shooting that they didn't have the year before when Caitlin Clark took down the Gamecocks. 2
really exceptional coaches. Different styles, but exceptional coaches.
Yep, no question. 2 of the top 5 teams in the country, obviously by ranking. 2 of the real brand names in women's basketball. Coming up Friday afternoon at 5. We're tied at 26 in Atlanta. McCollum, George, Ndongo, Soiree, all on the floor. Nate George, a foul line jump shot. Got the friendly bounce, and he's got 5.
And that is the first unassisted made field goal by Georgia Tech in this game. So they went 13 minutes, and everything was done off the pass. That time, Nate George getting into his bag and getting the bucket.
Jaden Shute back out there with Lawal, Poteet on the catch. Soiree and Ndongo dig down defensively. Rex Steiner into the corner. There goes Johnson, a 3. Tyler Johnson has hit 3s 6 and 7 on the year. He had only had 19 attempts and 5 makes in the first 18 games.
But he's able to benefit from the double team from Georgia Tech going down to try to get the basketball out of the hands of Poteet. Coach, I'm sure at times you had to come up with a decision as to whether you wanted to double guys. Did you often not fear the shooters on the outside to make that decision?
I didn't like the double team at all because every time you do it against a good team, a good passer, somebody's getting a wide open 3.
Yeah.
And so you try not to double team. The NBA used to double team a lot, and they've stopped because there's so many good shooters up there. You rarely see the double team in the NBA.
You know, here's the other thought about Virginia Tech real quick. They are such a, I mean, it's taken 18 games for Mike Young to kind of maybe get a chemistry gym.
Well, you got a whole new team, and that's a problem with the whole transfer portal system, especially if you're getting guys that are just good players, maybe not great players.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit longer.
Well, and you see 10 underclassmen, 9 for BC, 9 for Florida State. 9 for Stanford. Corey, you saw a little bit last night. Wake Forest is kind of in that area, right? Just kind of finding out. Omaha Ballou now back in lineup, that kind of thing.
Omaha Ballou was back in the lineup against Virginia Tech and then turned his ankle, so he did not play last night. And that's one of the areas that Steve Forbes has had to deal with, the injury, similar to what we're seeing with Damon Stoudemire.
Here is Ndongo going to work. Fell off the iron, and Lawal gave chase, and Ndongo saved it, huh?
But I love the hustle by Ndongo, not conceding that going out of bounds, trying to make a play.
Tied at 29. You wouldn't have believed the flurry this game started with. Poteet digging in, and a travel on Elijah Poteet. There's more double team pressure from Georgia Tech. Again, here's the hustle.
Yeah, and that's one, of course, Ndongo could have absolutely allowed that to go out of bounds, but I respect the hustle from the young fella going over. Even though they did not come away with the basketball, his teammates also can appreciate him going after it and such.
The double teams really, Poteet really hurt him in the first game, and they've just come out and double team him every time, and I think it's been a really good strategy.
George. Here's McCollum. Long three at the front. And Lawal the rebound. Rex Steiner. Saw Soiree way out there trying to help. Under 5 now to go. Poteet. And Johnson a 3. Boy, bad miss there. Missed everything over the inline out of bounds. Quick reminder to you, coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight over on ESPN2. Another good one in the Southeastern Conference. Number 16 Ole Miss hosts Wade Taylor IV, and number 13 Texas A&M tonight in Oxford on ESPN2. 29 all here in Atlanta, and that's a travel on Nate George.
And just that simple pressure, hedging the screen and roll action, 35 feet away from the basket, forces the turnover. But give the Hokies a lot of credit. They've been jumping out, blitzing those screens. Nate George anticipating it. And now an opportunity for the Hokies to be able to add to their points off turnovers tag.
Mike Young swapped some guys in and out here. Jimmy's got 14 bench points, 15 points from his starters for his 29.
And it's a pretty clean game, just a couple turnovers for each team, so they've really been pretty solid.
Here's Rodney Brown on backdoor lob, and what a catch and flush by Tobi Lawal.
You remember me saying, this is why he's Lawal. He has the ability to climb. I mean, this guy may have, and Coach, you've only seen this from very few people, he may have top of the backboard hops.
He gets up.
Here's Powell, tried to shoot Georgia Tech back in front and does.
And then it turns around and has a little something to say to the bench. Before he knocked out. But I'm sure they had something to say to him first before he lined it up, Coach.
No doubt about it.
Here's a steal. Ball got knocked away, and that was Ndongo again with a hustle play. And then he forces the turnover.
And Rex Steiner upset with Lawal because he didn't go for another lob on that possession.
Duncan Powell, who's got now 13 in this first half. McCollum working around Rodney Brown. Runner with a right hand, bounced out. Brown and the Hokies. Trailing 1. Lawal a 3. Nope.
It's a little better when he's closer to the basket.
George, catch and layup for Ndongo. 8 for Baye Ndongo in the first half.
And you see Nate George continuing to drop down to second in the ACC in assists per game, but already has 4 here tonight, trying to get back in the #1 spot.
Yeah, Chucky Hepburn passed him last night.
I mean, they did pretty much anything they wanted to do last night, correct? Louisville did at SMU.
Here's the drive and the miss. Brown can't find the follow, third time.
Missed the 3.
Yep.
Virginia Tech is in double-digit offensive rebounds, but they only have 2 second-chance points. That's been a struggle. They've gotten opportunities, just haven't been able to convert them.
Got to finish those.
Georgia Tech by 3. George. Here's Ndongo, the catch against Lawal. Powell on the drive. Layup good.
Big game.
What a half for Duncan Powell, Corey.
He has been the offense for the Ramblin Wreck in this first stanza. Continues to add to the reason why Damon Stoudemire should keep him in the starting lineup.
Georgia Tech by 5. Poteet lost the handle on it. Last touched by the Jackets. So
we see the ACC at 6.2 per game, looking to get back to that #1 spot throughout this one. But how about this, WD?
Yes, sir.
They're only a +8 in ACC play on the season. So a +10 already in the first half of this game. Coach, you like those numbers, right?
Those are good numbers. Anytime you can do that, the turnovers kill you. Assists help you.
Hammond back on the floor with Burnham and Jaden Young, and they whip it inside. Poteet a quick bucket.
Right out of the timeout, great play, set up. Coach Young got him ready, gets a layup.
But here's the thing about that one, Coach. The way they did it, no opportunity to double team.
Oh, quick, too quick.
Ndongo caught in a double team now. 5 bounces inside. What a catch in traffic. And Ibrahim Soiree, who averages just 1.9 points per game, has 4 in the first half.
And the third assist for Ndongo, dropping the dime right there in tight coverage.
James Forrest, a great former G-Tech player who's with the team.
I know you're not going to say James Forrest passed the basketball, Coach.
Was talking about Suarez. No, James put the ball in the basket.
Exactly.
That's what he did. As good as most.
Hokies with a miss. Here's Hammond. Right corner, Burnham thought about it. Out of traffic. Hokies trying to square it up with a minute to go in this first half. Back to Poteet with Ibrahim Soiree defending. And we're going to get a whistle and a foul, I believe, on Soiree. 6'9" sophomore redshirt from Conakry and Guinea. It's his first. It's the third, and of course, Guinea is where Mamadi Diakite was from. Same area, by the way, as where Ibrahim Soiree hails from. A couple of free throws for Poteet coming up.
Coach, you were talking about James Forrest, talking about Soiree. Is that been kind of his project to work with Soiree throughout the season?
You know, I'm sure he's talked to him, and you know he's hanging around, giving advice. He's a special assistant, but you know, you always look. There's always one guy you want to pick, say, like, this guy's got to do more for us.
Look,
yeah.
Let me ask you this. The guy on the left is B.J. Elder, star of the 04 Final Four team at Georgia Tech. James Forrest in the middle and Bonzi Wells on the right, Corey.
And I tell you what, that's a big 3 right there. And you throw that guy standing up at the top with him, the point guard,
right.
You got a squad right there. I'm going to tell you that right now. I've dealt with all those guys, and each and every one of them is a problem.
So tell Myron Metcalf we have a staff that can score.
Absolutely.
Bobby Cremens brought some pretty good players in here.
Here we go.
Wait a minute. Okay, guys. You were just saying brung them, not
brought
okay.
them.
I said brought them.
Brought them.
Brought.
Brought them
R.
We didn't hear the R.
Well, you know, you're not paying attention.
George in the lob for Ndongo. I think it's going to get waved off.
Really good play, too.
Yeah.
And the foul is going to be on Ben Burnham. But the elusiveness in the assist game of Nate George, I think, is what's undervalued a little bit.
WD, you wanted me to tell you who Nate George got to work with this summer?
Don't tell me you.
It would be me.
Oh, gosh.
Well, then why is he passing?
Yeah.
Had an opportunity to work with Nate at the
Why
Nike
is he
Academy.
passing?
Well, I mean, again, Coach, think about this. Did I pass more or Damon Stoudemire?
Yeah, it's close.
Powell inside for Ndongo with a right hand, and Burnham commits another foul. Ben Burnham with 2. Oh, they're not going to call that on Burnham. Beg your pardon. They're going to get Jaden Shoot with his first. It'll be the 5th on the Hokies.
But I love the way the Yellow Jackets are looking for each other. It started from the beginning. We talked about it, but now it's almost as though everybody's looking to share, giving up a good shot to get a great shot. And that time, turning down an open jumper to get it inside to Ndongo, who have 2 free throws when we return.
All right, we're going to have a 30-second break. Javian out.
Coach, we talked about James Forrest. How much time did you spend in Atlanta trying to get him to come to upstate New York?
Too much. Another one of my losses. We're close with him. He had a great visit, but
I'll tell you this. When you were recruiting him, he was recruiting me. I was on my way down here to play with him at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and then what happened?
And then Travis Best committed while I was at Virginia on my visit. Bobby Cremens actually wrote about it in his book.
James Forrest kind of shed some light on all that today.
He said, I don't know who Travis Best was.
He turned to Corey. What did he say, Jim? Corey, he said, I thought Corey was committed.
Yeah.
I was. That's the craziest part, WD. I was committed.
He said it was a soft commitment.
He said it was soft, Corey.
I will admit it was a soft commitment.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that in the second half.
But Travis Best went for 81, and Bobby said, ooh.
We might want to get Travis Best.
Let me tell you what, that did happen.
Okay. All right, Crimmins, will text all of us here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Jaden Young, final possession of the half, the drive, no whistle. And with 2.6 left, Virginia Tech down 4 is going to get the last crack here. Now, Elijah Poteet is quickly summoned from the Hokie bench.
And the Yellow Jackets switched it up, went to a zone on that last possession, trying to throw the Hokies out of rhythm. Still got a good shot.
Get Poteet back in to run this out of bounds play.
Georgia Tech countered with Ryan Mutombo. Trying to get it in bounds. Here's Poteet with one. Fall away at the horn. Air ball. Short. And they go to the half. Georgia Tech got out to a blazing start, Corey, and they protect a 4-point lead at the break.
They started out knocking down threes and sharing the basket of the season. Interesting to see what he'll be able to do with the adjustments of Mike Young in the second half.
There goes Poteet backdoor off a shoot delivery.
Perfect play and missed the layup.
Yep, McCollum the other way. The Jackets trying to go for tempo again here early, and a back rim miss. It got tapped out, and here's Virginia Tech the other way. Look at Ben Hammond, the freshman, dump it inside. Lawal again. 7 for Tobi Lawal.
2 starts, 2 layups to start the second half. That's a good sign for Virginia Tech.
And that's the reason why Ben Hammond is at the point guard position, because he gives them a playmaker, a guy that can find his teammates, much more of an assist guy than Rex Steiner at the point.
Of course, he's another one of those guys that played that powerhouse Paul VI program in Virginia last year.
And another one of those guys that won a BCAM championship alongside Donnie Freeman, Darren Harris, Pat Gungba, all coached by my guy Jamil Jones at Team Takeover.
A really tough shot there.
Yep. Tell you what, McCollum has a way to get to the basket, doesn't he?
We showed him in our open WD. He's a 3-level scorer, a guy that can get to the rim. Of course, he can shoot the 3, but put so much pressure on defenses, getting to the free throw line as well.
Yeah. Jackets by 4 again here in the opening stanza of the half. Nate George on the drive and had it knocked away as Hammond hit the deck. Georgia Tech averaging 69-4 in league play. Virginia Tech right around that number. Both allowing towards 75, as you might suspect with their respective conference records. There's McCollum and the Hokies playing that hard man-to-man. And
where we sit in the building, we have our shot at Mike Young in a defensive stance. Coach, can you still get in the defensive stance?
Not in that stance. He's right down in there. He's ready to go.
And it forced a turnover, so it must work.
Yeah, it's like having a 6th defender on the floor.
Yeah. Here's Shoot doing that for 3.
Do what you do. Of course, do what you were named to do. When the last name Shoot, you don't have any other option.
Hokies to within 1. Jaden Shoot knocks down his first bucket of the ball game. And a timeout taken. 1-point lead now for Georgia Tech. But Jaden Shoot off the pass from Hammond draws it up for Virginia Tech. So we talked to 3D at halftime. Of course, Dennis's jersey was retired earlier this year by Georgia Tech, joining the luminaries here in the rafters at McCamish Pavilion. And Bobby Crimmins has also chimed in after hearing the story that was told in the first half about Corey Alexander and Travis Best. There's Nate George missing a 3 from the perimeter, and Soiree fell to the deck. That'll be a travel that will send it back to the Hokies. Now, Bobby Crimmins says, Corey, you were supposed to sign early and then changed your mind to sign late. Yep. Travis was supposed to sign late, changed his mind, and wanted to sign early. Crimmins also sent 3 laugh emojis behind him.
There is truth to that.
Okay.
However, the reason why I was recruited by Georgia Tech in the beginning is Dennis Scott.
That's right.
We played pickup together when I was at Flint Hill at the end of my sophomore year. He was the one that made the call to Bobby Crimmins that you need to come recruit this guy. And the rest was history. But this is where I wanted to come. There's no question about it. I wanted to be here, but I had to make sure Kenny Anderson was leaving because I was not going to take that guy out of his starting spot.
You don't think?
No, I'm pretty sure that one was locked up there. 3 ball deep, Jaden Shoot off the back rim, and what a rebound and put back from Tyler Johnson.
But a lot of what we saw in the first half, Coach, offensive rebounding, but this time they're able to convert it into second chance points.
Yeah, you got to make those, and now they're making them.
And the lead for the Hokies at 42-41. Powell trying to get baseline. George into the corner. Soiree, not his area for offensive production. And now here's George on the drive and draws the foul. But one more return here, Jim, to the work of Tyler Johnson after the miss.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a physical kid. He almost gets away with a little one there, but he's a physical young player that can shooting a little bit today. He's getting better. Their young players have a chance to be good.
Yeah.
They just got to keep positive during this season. But it's obviously they struggle a little bit.
How about those numbers? 12 offensive rebounds, only 6 second chance points. But when you consider you have to love the effort from the Hokies going to the offensive glass, they average close to 11 per game, so already over their per game average. And I think it's something that Mike Young will continue to implore his young players to go to the offensive glass.
Nate George missed the first one. This is the part where I tell you Georgia Tech is dead last in ACC play with free throws, 64.9%.
And as great Hall of Fame coaches will tell you, there's 3 ways you lose basketball games: giving up offensive rebounds, turnovers, and missing free throws.
Yep.
All 3.
Georgia Tech is 5 of their first 8. There's a turnover. We're tied at 42.
And I'm not a Hall of Fame coach. I just hang out with one all the time.
Sophomore George gets it to Powell. Into traffic goes Duncan Powell. Too hard off the glass. We're going to get a foul on, I believe, Tyler Johnson for a push on Baye Ndongo. And we are going to get the break in the action first. They'll discuss the foul. Just under 4 minutes or 16 minutes to play in this ball game. Tied at 42 in Atlanta. The last 4. Tied at 42 and free throws coming up here for Duncan Powell. And of course, the SEC with 21 non-conference wins against the AP top 25. 5 teams in the top 10. You were in the SEC a couple of weeks ago. The depth in the league is impressive, Corey, for this particular campaign of basketball.
It absolutely is, and I'll be in the SEC in another week and a half going to Ole Miss to watch Auburn, who takes on Tennessee Saturday night. And we had to call that isn't that the Bruce Pearl Bowl? I mean,
Well, meanwhile, the SEC just figured out the NIL early and got in heavily, and it's all the difference in the world. And that's what the ACC has to understand. We got to get into this. NIL is the only way you can win.
Yeah.
And the SEC did it, and everybody in that league did it, and they've got good players and good teams, period.
Lee Cassell and Matt Potter have come here to the monitor to our left. We're all tucked in here nicely along the scores table. And I think the question
hold on.
is,
I'm the one tucked in. Look who's in the middle. Like, I mean, you know, getting in, that's like getting in the back seat, and I got to be the guy riding in the middle.
they're double checking here on the free throws and to double check the shooter. And I'm going to give you a look at this. So Powell is the guy who shot the free throws. Now the foul was on Tyler Johnson against Baye Ndongo. So instead of Powell, who shot 1 of the free throws.
Or mistakenly.
Yeah. So Mike Young and his team being brought up to speed here.
After further review, we had the wrong shooter, 11 on the line for 2 shots.
Okay. So Powell will.
So here's my question.
Okay.
All right. Can we see that replay again?
Sure.
Because was Baye Ndongo shooting?
No.
So again, how do you have the wrong free throw shooter? Because Duncan Powell took a shot,
Right.
but Baye Ndongo wasn't shooting. And you're not in the bonus.
That's right.
Okay, so here's going up. That should not be a shooting foul.
Yeah. You're right.
I mean, if that's what we're looking at, because if the foul wasn't on Duncan Powell, I mean, there was no possession of the basketball right there to make that a shot attempt for Baye Ndongo. So by rule, that should have been just taking the ball out on the side.
That's correct, too. 1 of 2 for Ndongo. It's a 1-point game. Everything you just said is accurate. Rechsteiner on the floor. Rodney Brown Jr. has come out on the floor as well. And a two-pointer for Brandon Rechsteiner. He's got 5, and there's Scott Steiner, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer.
So I tapped Mr. Rechsteiner on the shoulder and said, excuse me, as I was trying to walk down the stairs earlier. Had I known it was him, I would have just walked around. I wouldn't have bothered.
And apologized.
Yes, and apologized for walking around him. Because I want 0 problems with him, big fella.
McCollum the miss. It's a 1-point lead for the Hokies. 44-43. Rechsteiner put him ahead. Here's Wessler to work. The big fellas come off the bench again. Brown had 7 really nice minutes in the first half. Missed the floater there. Jackets trying to convert to 3-on-2. George thought about the catch and shoot 3.
Smart decision not to take that 3, though. Try to get a better shot. That's what Georgia Tech has done throughout this game, giving up good shots for great shots. Part of the reason they were able to build a lead early.
And lost on the reach-in. Here's a look at the Rechsteiner jump shot.
Gets to the mid-range and makes the right decision instead of trying to force a pass. Oh, yeah, that's why I want no problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
no
problem.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I want to apologize, Mr. Rechsteiner, for being in your way while I was coming down the stairs.
3-pointer, no good. Wessler rebound. I wish we'd have had that mic, Jim. Corey apologizing.
I know, that's hard to believe. We'll make sure we got an instant replay on that.
Yeah. Here's Jaden Young, who had 3 in the first half. This is where Virginia Tech started to kind of get back in after the flurry early. Wessler had it raked out of there. That'll be a foul on Nate George.
Nice
Patrick
find.
Wessler will go to the line.
But nice find by Rechsteiner, also throwing that with the left hand, the off hand, and recognizing the slip from Wessler. As he comes out, slipping away from that screen, that nice left hand finish. George comes over, knocks it away, but that's a difficult pass to make through traffic.
And Wessler's just part of the depth that Mike Young employs off the bench. And here's one of the differences tonight between the two teams.
There's no question about that. The other thing is, Virginia Tech's done a great job on Powell. You know, you haven't seen Powell this first 5-6 minutes of this half. They've just done a great job keeping him away from the ball.
Georgia Tech's only got 4 points here in the second half. 1 of 5 from the floor and 3 turnovers, by the way.
A missed free throw, WD. What we got going on here?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Nothing. But the crowd got excited for a reason.
Yeah.
Shooting right into the band. There's got to be something on 2 missed free throws in the second half.
Here's George in a 2-point Hokie lead. Feeds it inside, and Soiree is fouled. So Ibrahim Soiree, who's 4 of 16 at the free throw line, will go to the stripe here.
I would call that a good foul then.
Yeah. Patrick Wessler's first. 3rd on the Hokies, and Damon Stoudemire's team back to the stripe, where they are 6 of 10 tonight. And here is Soiree, who did not play last year. 7'3" wingspan. He played with Nate George at Canyon International out in Arizona. And the first one, not bad looking stroke for a guy now 5 of 17.
Yeah, and again, you speak about Arizona, of course. Damon Stoudemire with heavy ties in Arizona, not only one of the all-time greats for Coach Olson at Arizona, but also on the coaching staff for years there.
That rattled out. And a lane violation called on Wessler.
Oh, give him another one.
So we're going to have the old NBA 3 to make 2 for you, Boeheim.
Nothing like it.
I tell you what, I don't even know if I was alive when that was happening, but Coach Boeheim absolutely was part of that. You guys?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Old 3 to make 2 was around for a while, into the 70s and such.
Yeah, well, once again, I was born in '73, so.
And one of the 3 for.
But an offensive rebound by Duncan.
How about that? And a foul.
And immediately Mike Young going to his bench to get Lawal back into the game.
Burnham commits his 2nd. It's the 4th on Virginia Tech. And now Duncan Powell's going to go back to the line. And this time he's going to be there for real free throws.
And the opportunity to put 2 more points on the board. But, Coach, It was almost an automatic for Coach Young right there. Missed box out on a free throw, not getting the rebound. He didn't even have to see the rest of the play. He was immediately get him out.
Get him out.
Corey, Georgia Tech's now 7 of 13 at the free throw line, 3 of 7 in this second half.
That is one of those 3 keys I've learned from the Hall of Famer that cost you games.
Yep.
Not taking advantage of your opportunities at the free throw line, as well as turnovers and giving up offensive rebounds.
Powell is 4 for 6, so he's got 4 of the now 8 conversions. Tied at 45. Lawal, 3 ball from the left side. Young too strong. They scramble inside, and here comes Georgia Tech. Powell ahead against Recksteiner, throws it up on the glass and in.
But I love the recognition by Powell, seeing Recksteiner back, a much smaller guard, able to attack using his size and strength to finish through the contact.
19 now for Powell. Brown thought about it. Boy, Soiree really chases, doesn't he? Brown trying to take him into traffic, turned over to Powell. Does not have numbers.
And made the right decision. Once again, he saw too many jerseys of the opposite color back. Does not try to push it. Gives his team an opportunity to set up offense.
Javian McCollum. And the rebound for Brown.
Gotta make those.
Rodney Brown, the floater. And it bounces in. Wow. 10 for Brown.
He's been a positive off the bench for Coach Young. The bench points have been heavily in the favor of the Jackets throughout the, of the Hokies throughout this one.
Sure have. And a hard move to the basket. Ndongo and the foul.
19-2 advantage in bench points for the Hokies. But Nate George getting it done on the offensive end of the floor, driving, getting into the painted area, and dropping another dime as he continues to chase back the #1 spot in the ACC in assists.
Second foul of the half on Lawal. Georgia Tech goes back in front at 49-47.
And Georgia Tech's picked up the defense, too. That's a big factor. They get those turnovers off good defense, not letting them execute and get the open shots.
And the and one. No good for Ndongo. And Young finally gathers it. And Recksteiner almost saw it deflected into the backcourt. Here's Brown, who's having his best game in the ACC so far. Turned over on the stretch and down the floor. George can't finish, but draws the foul.
That was a great possession on both ends of the floor by Nate George. Getting his hands on the basketball, knocking it away from Recksteiner. And then once again, the deflection allows them to get out in transition. Nate George now has an opportunity to get to the free throw line to make it a 2-possession game.
1 for 2 is Nate George at the line, and he'll shoot 1 free throw, and then Mike Young's got a line change.
Mike Young did not like what he was seeing from that group. Turnovers, not blocking out, fouls.
Yep.
He's changing everybody.
So here is George, the sophomore from Toronto, who was second in the ACC in assists last year. And it looks like still about 5 weeks, 6 weeks left to go in the regular season. It looks like he and Chucky Hepburn are going to run this thing to the wire this year.
Yeah, and again, that's a battle, coach, that of course you love for your players to want to have to fight out. Who can get the most assists? That's not a selfish part of the game at all, correct?
No. Well, that's what he does. I mean, he's good at getting in the lane, and when he tries to score, he's not there yet to score. That will come, but he's getting the ball to people, and that's what a point guard does.
8 for George. The lead is 4, almost 8 minutes in to half number 2 in Atlanta.
It's a zone defensively by Georgia Tech now, switching it up on this possession. Virginia Tech not really understanding what's going on.
Kick out, 3 ball for shoot. And long rebound, McCollum.
Defense picked up, that's the difference.
Here's Javian McCollum all the way to the basket, and it goes.
Timeout.
A rim run by the Jackets, and the lead is 6. Mike Young's not happy with the defensive transition, among other things here.
Absolutely. When you give up an opportunity to a guy that's averaging close to 17 points over his last 7 games, you know he's at the top of the scouting report. Can't allow him to get downhill and get a bucket.
So right now, Virginia Tech's got to come out and get something going on offense. They're just not getting good shots right now.
Of course, it's a game of runs. We thought that Virginia Tech was going to come out, and the way they started the second half, we thought they were going to put some separation between the two teams, but give Georgia Tech a lot of credit for the way they responded, now picking up full court, adding some pressure.
Jackets have lost 4 straight, 5 of their last 8. Virginia Tech's won 2 of their last 3, 3 of their last 5.
I love what Damon Stoudemire is doing, switching up his defenses, not allowing the Hokies to have any type of comfort level on the offensive end. And look at it right now, you're already down to 10 seconds, haven't even gotten organized on offense.
Hammond, here's Lawal. Poteet with 3, Johnson got to get rid of it. Hammond guns at the horn, and their front rim miss, and Johnson gives the Hokies another crack at it.
A great defensive possession that you did not finish with the defensive board.
Shoot wanted the quick catch. There goes Hammond on the drive all the way through. Johnson again digging in on the drive, and he's going to draw the foul, I believe, Ndongo. It is on Baye Ndongo. It's his second.
Well, Damon Stoudemire knows that he did everything right. They switched the defense perfectly. His guys did a great job for us. They tough shot at the end of the shot clock, but then you give up the offensive rebound. He looked a little bit like Coach Boeheim with that reaction right there, WD.
He was pretty calm. He was a little bit calm.
He was a little calm? Yeah. It's because he doesn't have on a blazer.
That's exactly what.
See, the quarter zip is the reason. The quarter zip is much more difficult to take off, WD. If you got this blazer on, you're peeling out of this
easy move. Easy move.
Tyler Johnson to free throw.
And
you're not wearing the line blazer tonight, I've noticed, by the way, for folks who didn't join us last year.
This is my dresser.
Got it. Okay, the one you're really serious about?
Yeah.
Johnson hits the free throws. My goodness. Tyler Johnson's got a dozen here now, Corey.
And stepping up, as Coach talked about, not only his ability to be able to score, but he's the guy that's going out, look, guarding Duncan Powell, trying to make things difficult on Powell as he gets close.
Here, Mike Young playing defense here, too, for the Hokies.
I want to see Coach Boeheim getting this.
No chance.
Not like that.
Oh, here goes McCollum. Oh, what a stop. And it bounced out on the jump shot.
You got to make that.
Got to make it.
$1 million move, 10-cent shot. You got to get that one to go.
Got to make it.
Here's Hammond knifing through traffic in the scoop, and it rolled out for him, and last touch by the Jackets. Well, the landscape of where these two teams are, this one is, it might not be pretty at times, but you cannot question the effort tonight, guys, either school.
Big effort.
And not only the big effort is showing the level of importance of this game. In our open, we talked about there are 3 teams that don't make the ACC tournament. Yeah. We're not talking about the NCAA tournament. So everyone wants to be in Charlotte, but there are 3 that will miss out.
How about that? Stripped away by the Jackets. McCollum through traffic. He lost it. Lawal with Johnson. And Tyler Johnson will lay it in.
He made the right play. I just wanted to see Lawal go to the top of the backboard again.
You can't make those turnovers. Trying to go in traffic there, you don't need to go there, and you give up a bucket.
14 for Johnson. He had 11 and a dozen rebounds at Cal. And a reach-in foul on the Hokies. That's going to be on Johnson.
You see the turnover coach is talking about. Tobi Lawal gives it up, looking to get it back, but Johnson does the right thing, recognizing that they're looking for the lob. Takes the easy layup and makes it a 2-point game.
And 1-1 now, because that's the 7th foul on Virginia Tech.
Look at Coach Young and Matt Potter.
He's hugging him, but he's not hugging him like, yeah, I really like you. It's not that.
Coach, did you ever?
No, don't even ask. Free throw good by
hug an official during the game?
Don't ask.
Yeah, don't ask that question.
I'm not going to lie.
3-point lead for Georgia Tech.
That's why I asked it, because I knew you wouldn't lie.
It's like you're not hugging the referees and the media. They're not your friends.
Now, the media thing I can really believe.
100%.
The referees, I thought there might have been a chance. The media, no shot. Which makes all of this even more remarkable.
Because now he's the media.
Exactly.
There you go.
I'm just talking. I'm not the media.
Here goes Hammond. Runner rattled out again, and the rebound pulled away by Ndongo.
But more importantly, finishing the defensive possession for the Ramblin Wreck and giving themselves the opportunity to build on the lead.
Skipped all the way across. Here's George. Inside catch, Ndongo, and it fell out.
All good, everything good, and missed the layup.
4-point lead for the Jackets. Coming up on 9 to go tonight. in Midtown. Jaden shoot, that's an offensive foul, and it's going to be on Tyler Johnson off the ball. So a 4-point lead, the turnover by Virginia Tech on the possession. Here's a look at the bottom 9, and Corey, to your point, 3 teams. The bottom 3 in the ACC are going to miss the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament at Spectrum Center in Charlotte. So that's where the stakes are, because nobody wants to miss the tournament.
It's a coach killer, a player killer. When you don't make that tournament, somehow they have to find a way that everybody goes. Whatever it is, whatever you have to do, because when you're left out of the tournament, it's just too big of a punishment.
Yeah, Coach, I've already got an option. Play 4 games on Tuesday,
yeah.
4 games on Wednesday. I mean, again, it works perfectly.
It's no
you
problem.
just don't have the 8-9 game.
Yeah.
The 8, plays in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, it's easy, but they sometimes things are too complicated, too simple.
Here's Sutton in traffic and scores.
And that's Powell tying his career high, correct, WD?
Powell. Yep, 21 now for Powell. 7th career game of 20 or more, including 2 in a row now. He had 21 on New Year's Eve against Notre Dame, and he's got 21 tonight. Had 20 Saturday against the Seminoles, and he's back at it again tonight. Georgia Tech may need them all and then some. Wessler threw it away. Lead pass, McCollum the catch, and the layup.
Georgia Tech's defense, they just turned up their defense.
But, Coach, on that possession, they double-team Wessler. Wessler not much of a threat, but do you often double-team just to get a turnover?
No.
To get a guy to give it up?
If you get a guy that's not a good ball handler and make a bad pass, but it's unusual.
6-0 run by the Jackets, and another foul. I think this is on Wessler for the block offensively. Yep. Offensive foul.
Duncan Powell getting it going.
Scan the QR code on the screen now. They're trying their very best to help folks affected by the California wildfires. And we've all seen the video, and it is just heartbreaking what has happened to those folks as we roll into 2025 in Southern California.
Can't even describe it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Long visit with Andy Enfield last week in Miami. Of course, he was at Southern California for better than a decade, and just talking about kind of the area itself and the way the communities have to support one another and how many different communities. We all know Southern California is chopped up into so many different municipalities, but to see the damage out there has just been stacked.
Coach Baye mentioned a name and a gentleman that, of course, is so dearly beloved in the game of basketball in Sonny Vaccaro last week, as we see James Forrest and I were both under Sonny's care when we were in high school. And Sonny, who, of course, lived in the Pacific Palisades for so long.
Just moved.
Yeah.
He just moved, and he's coming out with a book in February, early February. And I think it's something in Souls, I think. But it'll be an interesting book.
Yeah,
Lawal. How about Tobi Lawal, huh?
Yeah, knocks down another 3. We saw him knock down one in the first half, and just like that, gets Virginia Tech back within striking distance. But back to Sonny Vaccaro, Coach, I was supposed to actually call him and talk about the book my last trip down to North Carolina to meet you, but you distracted me somehow or another, and I didn't get a chance to call.
Great. Okay, that's where we're going to leave that. 7 to shoot, 5-point lead for Georgia Tech. Nate Georgia deep 3. It'll rim off, and Elijah Poteet's been pretty quiet tonight, by the way, guys.
And they've done a good job double-teaming him, making it hard for him down low.
Averages almost 11, had 8 in the first half, scoreless here in half 2.
Another one.
Lawal will fire again.
And
wow.
This improvement, he didn't do this a year ago at VCU.
Nope.
So you got to give the young man a lot of credit for putting the work in.
But when the guy hits one, you got to guard him the next time, and they just didn't guard him that time.
Hokies to within 2. Tobi Lawal doing a lot of the damage. Soiree, they'll fall off of him from that distance.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Soiree's in that corner. He would be much more effective in the dunker spot down low.
And that's an offensive foul. They're going to call the foul at the block on Ndongo for the shove.
And we've seen a lot of energy from the Virginia Tech bench, which is right beside us, but none more than getting the defensive stop, picking up the offensive foul on Ndongo.
And again, just a few short plays ago, they were looking to be out of the game, and now they're right back in the game, possession to tie.
You see the left arm push off to be able to try to get position right there, but gives the basketball back to the Hokies with the opportunity to tie or even take a lead.
6-0 run, and here's Poteet out of a double team. Right back to Elijah. Spinning baseline, kicks for Recksteiner in the lead. And the rebound pulled away by Ndongo.
Perfect possession ruined by a miss.
Inside 5.5 to go. There's Soiree. They give him plenty of room. Now George. Lawal trying to defend. He kicks it to Powell. Fouled on the 3 by Jaden Young. So Jaden Young draws the foul, his second. That is 10, Corey, on Virginia Tech with 5:12 to play.
And a momentum breaker, because you're on a run. You had an opportunity to tie or take a lead on the last possession offensively. Got a great shot, just didn't go down. But then you foul a guy who has been the hottest player on the floor for Georgia Tech throughout the night, giving him an opportunity for 3 at the free throw line and, of course, to eclipse his career high.
Free throw is good for Powell. He started his career at North Carolina A&T, then went to Sacramento State, where a year ago he averaged 12 points. He's hit 2 quick ones here. This guy doesn't wait around on the free throw, by the way. The operation here is swift and efficient.
Yes, it is. No need hanging on to it. Make sure we get the shot up. 2 of 3.
Yep.
Maybe should have took a little more time on that.
Lead back to 4. Spoke too soon, perhaps.
Took too much time.
Career high for Powell, 23 tonight. Lawal, another one in the holster, no. Here goes George. Skips for Powell, catch and shoot. Too strong. And the Hokies recover the rebound.
That's a great job by Jaden Young getting a hand on the basketball. Couldn't get the rebound, but tips it to a teammate.
Skip to the corner, Jaden shoot a 3. He's got 6. Both are triples here in half 2.
Love the attack by Recksteiner to get to the baseline. Baseline drive, baseline drift, shoot, getting into the right spot and able to knock down the 3.
Both these teams are playing hard. They're doing everything they can. They know how important it is to win these games and get out of the basement area.
George out front, 11 to shoot. Nate attacks. Little push-up shot, rolled out. Ndongo had it. They scramble on the inline, and Bill Covington, that was touched by Lawal, out of bounds. His foot was on the baseline, so it'll stay with Georgia Tech. And still down on the floor is Ndongo.
But Lawal actually reached his hand up until he realized it was McCollum coming over to give him. And he was like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be the guy helping me up. But you see the battle underneath, going for the loose ball. 2 of the better athletes, not just in this game, but also in the ACC. A little mixed up down there, but also taking the time to rest. Look at that. Lawal recognizing that. You're not my teammate. Don't help me up.
Spot throw in, and a new shot clock, 20 to go. George off the 3 side. Oh! What a time to hit your second 3.
Remember when I was telling you who he worked with? And then Coach Boeheim said, why is he passing? We worked on the shot, WD.
Okay. Nice
No
job.
doubt.
Way to go, Coach.
No doubt.
4-point lead. Under 4 to go. Recksteiner quickly. Lawal. Hard drive in traffic. Had it stripped. Three and a half to go. Hokies are 1-2 on the ACC road. Georgia Tech is 2-2 in home games against the conference so far this year.
And happy to be back home, and you can see the difference in their production on their home floor in comparison to the 3 straight games they lost out on the road.
3-ball McCollum. Back rim miss. Here's Lawal. 4-point game. All the way through. George tried to make the save. Could not. That'll get us to the under 4. So, Coach, take us through the triple shot.
1 or 2 plays and it goes the other way, and it can go either way, and both teams are doing everything they can to try to win this game. They want to win this game because they don't want to be out of that playoff at the end of the year.
Yeah. What do you think, CA?
I am more impressed with the reverse fade that my man Duncan Powell is rocking. The 23 points for him, career high tonight, but the reverse fade haircut.
Yeah.
Again, that's almost, not even almost, that's the real deal. That's a shag, WD. That's the shag this new edition used to rock back in the 80s.
I don't even know what that is. God,
they don't know that?
No.
They don't know about that, Coach, a new addition? I know you know about it.
I know. But I don't know what his haircut is, and I can't compare it to anything I've ever seen.
Lawal baseline, had it blocked, and the Jackets recover.
Big defensive play there. Now just take your time and get a good shot.
George working against Recksteiner, who's on the floor.
George heard you, Coach. He was in attack mode, but bring it back out, run your offense, make sure you get a quality look on this possession.
12 to shoot for Georgia Tech, who's up 4. George on the drive, left it short.
Got a good look, just didn't go down.
And you killed a lot of clock in that possession.
Here's Brandon Recksteiner, pull up at the foul line, good. Recksteiner's now got 7, that's his 3rd field goal. 64-62, just ahead of 2 minutes to go.
Recksteiner is showing that he's comfortable off the bounce, especially once he gets into the mid-range.
Yep.
It's a big stop right here they need.
McCollum against Shoot. 10 to shoot now. Powell trying to help with the screen. Now the switch for Johnson. There goes McCollum into the lane. Now he's trapped, and did he turn it over? Did. Turned over by Georgia Tech.
Coach Boeheim, a lot of dribbling on the last 2 possessions for Georgia Tech, right?
Didn't really get a good shot either time.
Now Recksteiner back out near the timeline. Hokies going to wind, and Ndongo with the steal. Baye will run the floor and stuff it down.
I'll tell you what, you can't beat that effort. We talked about Baye and Ndongo going for the play in the first half, the effort, only to be topped by that one to come up with the steal in the bucket.
Recksteiner tries to take the Hokies back and dribbled it out of bounds.
That's a game-changing, game-winning play he made over there with that steal, with this time left in the game.
Baye and Ndongo getting out in the passing lane, but more importantly, tipping it to himself on the other side of Recksteiner, and then the quickness, the speed to be able to chase it down, and a little Carmelo Anthony type, flip it through. Don't bother with the rim, get calluses on your hand, mess up your manicure, just flip it through there real quick.
Backcourt pressure on George. Hokies may have to foul. Remember, they're already into the 2 shots on every common foul. George, midcourt, now into the front to McCollum. Ahead of a minute to go.
Just use the clock.
How they play defense, right?
Use the whole clock now, and then you get down into the 40 area, and you're in really good position.
7 to shoot for McCollum. Javian just going to have to take it. And Will on the drive against Hammond. Got the roll. McCollum now with 13. Georgia Tech's got 4 in double figures. The lead is 6. Hokies need a basket. And quick. Here is Shoot. He'll drive all the way through. Got blocked by Soiree.
Big block.
And a backcourt foul on Shoot will send McCollum to the line.
And Georgia Tech just turned it over with their defense. They turned this whole last 2 minutes over with their defense.
Absolutely did. It starts with Baye Ndongo with the steal in the finish, McCollum with the bucket, and then Soiree coming up with a huge block. And more importantly, Ndongo finishing it with a defensive rebound, and now an opportunity for Georgia Tech to make it a 3-possession game with 31 seconds remaining.
All defense, just turned it around with their defense.
A couple of free throws from McCollum. The Jackets are just 10 of 16 from the line here in the second half. And the first one rattles around. Georgia Tech wins this game. They're going to do it only hitting 1 3 in the second half.
It's mostly been their defense and just their effort. And if they make some free throws, the game would have been over 5 minutes ago.
Well, WD, think about it. They scored 39 first half points. Yeah. So when you look at with the only 30 second half points, but their defense
brands in women's basketball.
Two of the best coaches in basketball, period.
Here in Atlanta, Georgia Tech by 7.5 minutes to go, and the Hokies the ball, and they need points.
In a hurry.
Here is Hammond trying to get it to Recksteiner. George out front, time winding out of here. They got to get a shot if they can, and the Jackets switching everything, and finally Ndongo, who's made all the hustle plays for Georgia Tech, comes up with another one. And there's a foul on Poteet with 9.8 left to go.
You can't say anything more about the effort of Baye Ndongo. We talked about him saving a loose ball from going out of bounds in the first half. They did not get possession. However, that type of effort, Damon Stoudemire has to absolutely love that he's gotten from Baye Ndongo. We all expected him to make a big jump offensively this year, which we haven't seen, but it has not been a lack of effort on his part.
But Georgia Tech's got 2 turnovers, a block shot, 2 steals in 5 plays in the last 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, that's tremendous defense.
Javian McCollum's got a dozen now in the half, 15 in the ball game. Stoudemire's team, who now has a full week off, by the way, for Notre Dame visits here next Tuesday night.
And they need it. When you consider everybody on the sideline in the boot, you've got guys sick, 5 guys out of their rotation right now, that you give them a week and an opportunity to get them back in the lineup.
71-62. Here's Hammond all the way in on the layup. The Hokies, by the way, will host Clemson on Saturday at the Castle in Blacksburg. Powell's got to get it inbounds. He'll fire it for Ndongo, who will catch it with 3 seconds to go. He'll feed George, and the Jackets will dribble that out. The final in Atlanta, Georgia Tech 71 and Virginia Tech 64, Coach.